my name is On The Brink and today I'm going to review the highly anticipated blockbuster of this year, Godzilla vs Kong. This movie is directed by Adam Wingard and stars a talented amount of people including Millie Bobby Brown, Alexander Skarsgård, Eiza González, Rebecca Hall, Kyle Chandler, and bride Tyree Henry. Hopefully I say his name right. Fearsome monsters Godzilla and King Kong square off in an epic battle for the ages while humanity looks to wipe out both of the creatures and take back the planet once and for all. Now I am so pumped for this movie coming out. Ever since the end credit scene, spoiler, for Kong Skull Island, where we get to see images of Godzilla, we know that this movie is going to lead. And finally, the movie we've all been waiting for has come out. This is the second version of Godzilla vs Kong, because there's also a Godzilla vs Kong movie from the 60s. And when you watch the fight scenes from the 60s, when you watch it now, it looks so cheesy. Godzilla vs Kong for the new generations with CGI battles and all that stuff. And I'm honestly really pumped for this movie because I love the director Adam Wingard. I find him one of the most underrated directors out there. Like, I like Your Next. I think it's a very underrated slash movie, but also not appreciated one like Blair Witch. I really enjoyed that movie. Yeah, but Death Note, that's a different story. But Adam Wingard is a really good low-budget director. I think most of his films are well done, so this is definitely his first big movie, and I think it's definitely worth it for this director. I find the trailers of the film amazing, and this movie, I was thinking to myself, out of all the MonsterVerse movies, I'm going like, okay, this film's gonna play out like this. The monster fights are gonna be great, we're gonna have shitty human characters, but at least this movie's gonna be entertaining. And guys, I watched the very first screening for Godzilla vs Kong because I was very pumped for this movie. Even though I knew exactly what it is, I'm still pumped for this movie. And my advice to you, go see this movie on the biggest screen possible. Like every monster movie with monster battles and stuff, you gotta watch it in the biggest screen. That's the best way to view movies like this. So I saw, of course, the first screening, Godzilla vs Kong, the biggest screen. I'm honestly glad I did for that, because it looked great on the big screen. But what do I think of the movie though? Guys, I am gonna be as honest as possible. I freaking love this movie. I was really surprised of how much I love Godzilla vs Kong. This is in fact, in my opinion, so far, my favorite movie in this entire MonsterVerse. Don't get me wrong, love 2014's Godzilla. Kong Skull Island, in my opinion, might be my favorite before this movie. I actually had a lot of fun with that movie, and Godzilla King of the Monsters, I liked, but it has the most issues out of the entire MonsterVerse in my opinion. Godzilla vs Kong definitely marks up what we needed in the MonsterVerse and what needs to be fixed in the MonsterVerse. We got a movie that knows exactly what it is. The pacing of this film was honestly well done. Like, this is the shortest movie out of the MonsterVerse, and I think it deserves to be that short. Because what's great about Godzilla vs Kong is that this movie focuses on one thing and one thing only, leading up to Godzilla vs Kong, these two titans battling it out. That's what this movie focuses on. There's no subplots with the human characters that we don't really need, like King of the Monsters for example. This movie just goes from one pacing and sticks with it. And what's really surprising about this film is that they actually made Godzilla and Kong actual characters. They're not just CGI monsters that fight in the movie, which they are, but also they developed the characters of Godzilla and Kong really, really well, especially Kong in this movie. They focus a lot on Kong in this movie, and the way they focused on Kong in this movie was well done. They made him much more of a relatable character, and he's a CGI gorilla, but I really do feel for Kong's character in the movie. Of course, Godzilla, you know, like Godzilla is basically not in the movie all that much. You get to see more with Kong fighting, but we already know about Godzilla, so I'm completely fine with that. But when Godzilla does threats and kicks ass, it's really good to see. Godzilla still looks good in the movie, but I think Kong, in my opinion, stole the entire movie. But not just saying that because I'm on the side of Kong. No, I'm on both of their sides, because what's great about this movie also is that those two CGI creatures both have their motivations. They both have their reasonings, which is also really good. But another thing that I was really surprised about this film is the human characters. I find the human characters, for the most part, not bad in this film. Like, I like Alexander Skarsgård and Rebecca Hall in this film. They're on Kong's side. Love their characters, actually. I find their characters very, very interesting in the film, and what's good about their characters, they have a lot to do with the story. Same as most of the human characters except for some which I'll mention down in the flaws. I think that one of the standouts for me is this little girl, this breakthrough little child actress. I like this little girl in the film, that she's this deaf little girl that communicates with Kong, and I feel like that's the most interesting aspect with this film. Love this little girl in the film. She did a really good performance in this film, and I love her character with Kong. It makes Kong much more of a human character in the film. Once again, he's a CGI gorilla and they made him a character. Like Adam Wingard, you really know what you're doing. But another standout for me is Brian Tyree Henry. I loved his character in this film. His character was pretty much hilarious in the film, but also quite likable, and you can see his reasonings why he is like that in the film. But I think also his character has motivations as well, and you really are into his character in the film, and he's a character that makes the story much more entertaining than it actually is, of course including with the Kong Godzilla fights, which let's get to that, because this is the thing we've all been waiting for. Like ever since we watched the trailer, we're like, okay, what are the fights are going to be like? Holy shit, the fights in this movie, especially towards Kong and Godzilla fights, holy shit, the fight scenes are incredible. They look great. Because I feel like the problems with some of the MonsterVerse movies, there are some fight scenes, especially from King of the Monsters, that we just couldn't see anything. We couldn't see what is going on. This movie uses a lot of wide shots, and we can see the fights perfectly. We know who's knocked down. We know who punches who. We get to see the whole thing. And the fight, oh my god, it was irritating as hell. It brings up some of the best monster fights that I have seen in the entire MonsterVerse. When Godzilla and Kong are going down, it is entertaining. It's exactly what we came in for, and they showed a lot of that, which is what I want. I want to see a lot of Godzilla and Kong fighting, and we get a lot of that in this film, and it just gets more entertaining and entertaining each fight goes on. Like the Hong Kong fight was one of the best fights that I've ever seen out of this entire MonsterVerse. Like that fight scene, holy shit, it keeps going and going, and it never stops, and I'm enjoying every moment of it. So like the pacing is really good, the story was mostly very good, the fights are worth it. Is this movie the greatest movie ever? Absolutely not. This movie has flaws. Every movie has flaws. But I gotta say, this is definitely one of my biggest surprises of 2021. I didn't expect to love this movie as much as I did. But I do have a couple of issues with the film, but it's not a huge deal. Like, those problems in the film are just like, okay, I'm fine with them, but they're issues that need to be discussed. I would say Millie Bobby Brown's aspect in this film, I just didn't find her interesting in this. I find her more interesting in King of the Monsters than this film. She's basically one of those characters that's just there for the ride, but I just felt like her character, even though Millie Bobby Brown does a great performance in the film, I just felt like her character, I know why she's there, but she wasn't as interesting. She joins along with Brian Tyree Henry in the film, and I just find her character good, but I wouldn't say it's the best out of all the characters in the film. Also, I would say the ending of this film was a bit rushed. Like, the ending of the film, not the ending fight exactly, it's more of the conclusion of the film. They just did it a bit rushed. I know they're trying to make this film paced better and much more shorter than the other movies, but I wish they could have extended the ending a lot more. But I would say, guys, Godzilla vs Kong has a lot of surprises that I don't want to spoil. I wanted to spoil in this review, but there's a simple thing in this film, when you watch this film, you know what I'm talking about, that will give all the fans of the MonsterVerse just jumping out of their seats. There's a moment in the film that's like that, and honestly, I loved every moment of that. It was just really fun to watch. Also, didn't mention, the score by James DXL. He did the Schneider Cut and this movie. Two big moves by Warner Brothers. Wow, this is a year for him. And I wouldn't say the score is as great as the Schneider Cut was, but it's still good in the film. But that's another flaw. I didn't find his score that amazing, which is very disappointing. But the score, it's still good, but I wouldn't say it's as memorable. But guys, overall, I had a total blast with Godzilla vs Kong. This movie is honestly, in my opinion, it was Kong Skull Island, but now this is my favorite movie in this entire MonsterVerse. This movie knows exactly what it is. It's paced great. It goes straight on point. It knows the story, and it never drags on out of it. I love the human characters. Godzilla and Kong fights are worth watching. Godzilla and Kong, they developed their characters really, really well in the film. They both have motivations, which is what's great about the film. I'm on both of their sides in this film, which is really great about it. And Adam Wingard, this is definitely his best film that he's ever directed. Good job, Adam Wingard. You bring us the best movie in this entire MonsterVerse. I'm going to give Godzilla vs Kong an A-. So guys, those are my overall thoughts on Godzilla vs Kong. Let me know what you think of this movie in the comments below. Do you like the movie, hate the movie, or you thought it's okay? Just let me know in the comments below. Make sure you guys follow me on Facebook, Stardust, Instagram, Twitter, and Letterboxd. keep contact with me, and make sure you guys subscribe to my channel, notified for my latest movie reviews, and have a nice day.